Hey, welcome to the weekly wrap up brought to you by gettingstartedincrypto.com. And we are here. It's been a couple of weeks.
We are here. Yeah, it's not been very weekly wrap up. We do apologise. It's been bi-weekly when we can fit it in without technology getting in the way and all sorts of things.
It was pretty dead until this last week, really.
That's true.
It was kind of going sideways. So there was not a lot to talk about. It's going sideways, guys.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But it has been moving in the meantime.
It has. So we're back to a very interesting spot on BTC. So yeah, before we get into that, reminder to everyone, if I can find the camera without the ring light getting in the way, grab yourself a copy of Become a Millionaire in 1 Year. You can get it at all bookstores now, Amazon, everywhere. So grab a copy.
Amazing.
Written by me, I should say that.
Yeah. That's probably the main thing.
Bit of a bookshelf
today. Welcome to everyone watching.
Dina has the book. Go, Dina.
Yes, we love that. Robbie checking in from YouTube. Hi to you. And welcome to the 2 weekly wrap up. Of course, all the lovely Getting Started in Crypto members in the chat. We have been looking at your questions and we will get to those shortly. But as always, for the world to see, Lisa looks into Bitcoin and gets the crystal ball out and tells us what.
So there was a question, I believe, when will the bull run start? So let me get my crystal ball.
Sure. Have you got one?
No, I think it's upstairs with you. So, bull run, we've got as far as I can see. So where's my quantitative chart? There we go. If I can bring you up my quantitative chart, which I have had since around here, where we were looking at a correction down to these points on TradingView, if you don't believe me. And we knew that around the 11th of the 11th, between the 11th and the 11th and the 21st of the 12th, we were going to get a bottom. The reason why we knew that was because Bitcoin moves in a 4-year cycle. So within that 4-year cycle, we know that after a certain period of time, the waves have declined within the correction enough to form a bottom and we get a bounce. So we have had that bounce and we're almost at this wave 1. So it should get to around sort of 51, 52. And then that gives us our 5 waves. Then we're going to get a pullback for that next run up. So that's going to happen. Halvening happens around end of March, sort of April. It changes depending on how many blocks are mined. So with that being said, the bull run has one more pullback, usually just before halvening, because what happens is the miners will offload a lot of their BTC, being as, that puts them in good stead for, halving. They don't get as much profits after we go into halving. They get half the profits. So they want to sell that off before that happens. That will give us the next low, and then we will be off and running. So it's a little bit, could be a little bit different this year. We may not go as low as we've seen, just due to what's been happening with the ETFs. So we're kind of in uncharted territory with that, but I do think we're going to see some type of low. We have a long-term support in this region at about 37,400. So that's a good position to have some orders sitting there and waiting. So without having a crystal ball, I do think we've got one more low. Whether that's super low or not, I don't know. Potentially if this is, in previous years, we've seen, an 88% to 96% correction. But we have had a longer period of time for that to happen. This has been a slower run up, potentially, depending on how the waves form. It could be still corrective, or it could be the first wave of the major third wave, which means after we get some measurements for that first wave, we know potentially where we're going for this next bull run. So with that being said, we know that the wick-off chart additionally matches that, so that we're coming to a reasonable top in this area. So if we go back down to this sort of measurement here, and we take that up to this region, we can see that we're in that area now. So that measures up to about 51-ish, 52. So, and that's the same as on that quantitative chart that has been following this exactly. So, yeah, it's perfect. So this is our position of our halving, and you can see that we're almost there. So within this next month or two, we're going to see a pullback just due to the miners selling. So, just watch the news. The FUD always comes out around that point, and yeah, we just get that miner sell off, and then off we go. So point of buy the dip.
Exciting times, nearly there. It's been a long bear market, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's no longer than any other bear market. That's the thing. It's like they within this 4-year cycle, Bitcoin always has these, timings and everything where we can gauge that we're going to get a bottom around this time. We're going to get, and this ties in with what is happening with the financial markets. So this is an election year in the US, so they're going to want to have a positive result in the markets, which is what we're seeing. We're seeing new highs in a lot of the, NASDAQ and all of that sort of stuff. So we want to keep that momentum happening and moving into the next, especially for if it's a new, say Trump gets in, and they get a government change, that potentially he doesn't want the markets to downturn, so he wants them to go up. So they're going to be giving the handouts again and pumping that money back into the market. So that also will be reflected with interest rate cuts. So we've seen interest rates on hold. I do believe we've got one more rise before we do see cuts come in. So we've had a hold. Our inflation has been relatively good, but if that spikes and they go, okay, we've had a spike in inflation, we're going to do one more cut, and then you'll see one more rise, and then you'll see some cuts come through. So, and that will coincide with markets moving up.
It's fascinating how it all seems to coincide, as you say, and Elliott Wave, if I'm right, fundamentally works on patterns.
Yeah, it does. So it moves really well with Bitcoin because there is a 4-year cycle, so we can kind of gauge where that's going. It does get a little bit tricky when we go down to those, the smaller sort of wave patterns, and you're trying to, negotiate where that's going immediately on, over the next day or so. But when you look at these higher time frame charts, it's fairly easy to see.
And great for the long-term hodlers, the DCAers, who don't want to spend time trading in the market so much.
Yeah, exactly. So, just hodl on until about 2025 and you should be right.
Excellent. Okay. Anything
Make sure
else
you sell. A lot of hodlers don't sell.
Oh, and then you're waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So anything else you want to share along with the world? And
that's probably about it for the world. I've got a whole heap of charts of alt charts that we're about to look at for getting started in crypto. So if you want to be a member, make sure you sign up.
Okay, then. on that note, we will say goodbye to YouTube and see